Namaskaram to all. So, Suprabhadam and welcome to our session once again. So, we are discussing about the Samprapti. We will start with our regular Mangala Shloka salutations to the Guru Parampara and everything. Chadurmukha Samarambham Vagbhadacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Ragadirogan Satadanushaktan Sheshakaya Prasrudan Sheshan Aulsukya Moha Aradidan Jakhana Yopurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. So, while discussing or thinking more and more about the Samprapti, I felt that, okay, it is quite essential to go a little bit more deep into the very basics. Otherwise, the problem is that many times we will have our own preconceived notions about everything. There is nothing wrong about it. One of our teachers during our college days used to tell that I have an Ayurveda, you have an Ayurveda, but we do not have an Ayurveda in common. That is true, because everybody is moving with their own Ayurveda, their own preconceived ideas about Ayurveda. There is nothing wrong about it as long as it is working. But when we sit together and discuss about something, I think we should have some common idea. So we were discussing about the Samprapti and which is going to be the most crucial part of our Swadhyayam. Before going to the individual vyadhis or their chikitsa, all these things, we should have some common idea which will make our travel comfortable. So I thought of taking you all to some of the very basics. That is why I posted one message in our group yesterday. So we saw that dosha dushta rasaihi dhadun dushayandi ubhaye malan adhodve saptashirasi khani sweda vahani cha mala malayanani syuhu yathasvam teshwado gadaha. And we saw the definition yadhadushtena doshena yathachanu visarpata nirvrittiramayasya asau sampraptihi jadihi agatihi. So one word which is common moving around in all these statements is dushti. And we saw that we have to understand the samprapti in two different planes. That is, one is yatha dushtena doshena. Then the other one is yathaja anubisarpada. So these two events we have to understand, and we are in the discussion of yatha dushtena doshena. So dushti is the word which is coming repeatedly in all these statements. Dushti or dushta. Even the word dosha, they are all having a common root, dhatu, dusha. And that meaning of that root is dusha vaikritye. Dusha vaikritye is the meaning of that common root connecting all these words. Vaikrityam. And when we look into the meaning of vaikrityam, we find it is vikritam eva. Vikritam eva. Vaikrityam is vikritam. What is vikritam? Vikritam means something which is distorted, vikritam, distorted from prakriti, departed from its normal or the original state, that is called as known as vikritam. So dushti means, or dushtam, it represents a state or a status which is away or which is departed from the normal state or form. That is what we call as vikritam or dushtam. And deriving further from that understanding, dosha. What is dosha? Dosha means something which is having the capacity to distort. Dosha is something which is having the capacity to distort, and this capacity of the dosha to distort, when all these things will come on the way, we will meet them. This capacity is inherent nature of a dosha. Swabhava. Dushana swabhavam. Dushana swabhavad doshaha. Dushana swabhavad doshaha. So it is an inherent capacity or nature, swabhavam, of a dosha. So a dosha is having the inherent potential to make dhadus and malas vikrita. That is, vikrita means to push them away from their prakrita avastha, their normal status. Dosha is having an inherent potential to make the dhadus move away from their prakrita avastha. We all know all these things. I am not underestimating the members in the room. But sometimes some sort of a revision of this sort will be interesting. Going back to the first standard, when you have completed your graduation, and sitting in that euphoria of that old primary lessons and all these things can be sometimes very interesting. So just take it like that. Just travel with me for some time, at least for 1 or 2 sessions. So we find that doshas has got the swabhava, inherent potential to make the dhadus and malas move away from their prakrita avastha. But this does not happen always. This potential, it is a potential. It is a potential that need not manifest always. As long as the dhadus, the doshas are in their prakrita avastha, this threat is not existing. This threat is non-existent. To show their inherent potential working or manifesting, they should become vikrita first. The doshas should become vikrita first. And as long as they are in their prakrita avastha is something like a wild animal which is well tamed. The prakrita avastha of a dosha can be compared with a tamed wild animal. So as long as the ringmaster is there, the animal will show many good things, many conditioned activities, will lead a show. All these things are correct. So as long as they are in their Prakritavastha, they are considered as essential functional components of Sharira. We have actually by-hearted these ideas very well, multiple times or n number of times. What is that? Vayu pittam kabhaschedi त्रयोदोषाः समासतः विकृता अविकृताः देहं घ्नन्ति ते वर्तयन्ति च. वायु पित्तं कफश्चेदि त्रयोदोषाः समासतः विकृता अविकृताः देहं घ्नन्ति ते वर्तयन्ति च. The description is fundamentally moving around the word Vikriti. See the interesting fact, if you have not attended to this earlier. The description here is fundamentally based on Vikriti. The usage what we find here is Vikrita avikritaha. Vikritaha and avikritaha. Not prakritaha and aprakritaha. It is vikritaha and avikritaha, not prakritaha and aprakritaha, or prakritaha and vikritaha even. Not even prakritaha and vikritaha, but it is vikritaha avikritaha. Why is it so? What could be the reason for narrating the entire stuff based on a negative notion called Vikriti, not Prakriti? Why is it so? Because the author wants to highlight the inherent nature of doshas, the swabhavam of doshas. And that swabhavam is about Vikriti, not about Prakriti. That is very important. Doshas, because of this potential, make themselves ready to get afflicted. That is an interesting fact. Because of their inherent potential, the swabhava, the doshas make themselves ready to get afflicted by the nidanas, that is the nimitta karanas, very easily. Very easily. No effort is needed for this. Why is it so? That is an important question. Why is it so? We are talking about a biological system which is supposed to be self-sustainable to a good extent, and we find that the prime functional factors which we are discussing as doshas are ready to get afflicted very easily by the nidanas. That is why these are the very fundamental questions that we have to ask. That is why I told that we will be going back to the very basics for a couple of sessions. So no effort is needed to make a dosha afflicted, whereas lot of effort is required to keep them in prakritavastha. No effort is required to make them afflicted. Actually, you see, if you look into the very basic nature of human beings, we will find the same thing. So I do not know whether doshas can be compared with the human behavior, or human behavior is like this because they are always controlled by the doshas. We have the mechanisms and machineries around us in the society, like police, criminal procedure codes, and court, different levels of courts. Why? Because in general, the public tend to violate the laws which are essential for social stability. Public at large is very easily ready. No effort is required to violate the laws which are quite essential for the stability of the society, and that is very easily. No effort is needed for that. Of course, some exceptions may be there, but they are exceptions. The general picture is otherwise. That is why I am taking this example. Effort is always required to follow the rules and to maintain the stability of the society, not to violate the rules. To violate the rules, no effort is required. So doshas also behave in the same manner, and that is why, to show this inherent nature of the, or inherent potential within the doshas, that the author is using the phrase vikrita vikritaha, and that is very specific and highly meaningful. This usage called vikrita vikritaha deham khnandi te vartayanti cha is very, very specific and to the purpose and highly meaningful. Got it? Now, coming back to this yadhadushtena doshena, we are again starting with it. It is about the stature of the dosha. Yadhadushtena doshena. Now, at this point, I have a very specific question to all those who are assembled in our room. How do we understand a dosha? That is the question. How do we understand a dosha? I hope sincerely nobody in this room might have thought of 3 doshas operating in our sharira before she or he enrolled themselves in learning Ayurveda. We all knew well in advance from our very beginning classes and sessions of our schools that there are multiple organs in the body. We have legs, we have hands, we have fingers, hair, sense organs, head, nose, and inside we have lungs, we have liver, we have pancreas, we have spleen, we have intestines. But we never thought that we have some doshas in our shariras. Isn't it? So that is why the question, how do we understand a dosha? That is always there, deep inside our minds, in our sphere of intelligence. This question is something like a thorn in the flesh. It is there always. How do we understand dosha? And we have never learned it before, but on a fine day morning, we start learning Ayurveda and we get introduced to the concept of doshas. What is that? Vayu pittam kabhaschedi trayo dosha samasataha. Vayu pittam kabhaschedi trayo doshaha samasataha. We don't know when this idea was originally conceived, but we take it for granted. We take it for granted as an aptopadesham and move further forward with those lines. What is that? The one which we saw earlier. Vikrita vikritaha deham khnandite vartayanti cha. Vikrita vikritaha deham khnandite vartayanti cha. So from here onwards, we presume that there are doshas in our sharira, and these doshas are some agencies working within a system. They are some agencies. The word agency, I am using the word agency with a lot of care actually. The word agency is having multiple meanings. The word agency is used here with the specific meanings, that is a thing or a person that acts to produce a particular result. That is one meaning of an agency, word agency, a thing or person that acts to produce a particular result. Or another meaning which is relevant in our context is an action or intervention producing a particular effect. So either it can be considered as a thing or person that acts to produce a particular result, or an action or intervention producing a particular effect. These are not given by me. These are all the classical or the standard definitions and meanings given to the word agency by approved dictionaries and other similar resources. So doshas are three different agencies working in the Sharira. Doshas are three different agencies working in the Sharira, and each one of them produces specific particular effects in the Sharira which are essential for maintaining the Sharira with its normal functional integrity. These are all quite problem areas. This is, even though I am just making some blank statements or bland statements, I know the gravity of the issue. These are all problematic areas. But now, at least at this point of our learning, we should go deep into these ideas. Whether rechecking, it is actually rechecking whether we have caught the ideas right or not. Many a times in our formative years, we do not get these ideas clearly, and that is why we develop some sort of a lack of trust, lack of conviction in the very basic principles. So we consider the three doshas are three different agencies working in the Sharira, part of the Sharira, and each one of them producing particular set of effects which are essential for maintaining the Sharira with its normal functional integrity. And the effect of each agency in their normal status and abnormal status are all very well observed and very well documented in our textbooks. I do not mean that these are to be gulped as such. These are to be swallowed as such. You can be very critical, you can be very judgmental. But to start with, we look into these documentations. For example, we find tam chalaha ulsahochvasa nishvasa cheshta vega pravartanaihi samyaggatya cha dhadunam akshanam padavena cha anugrannhati avikritaha. Tam chalaha ulsaha uchvasa nishvasa cheshta vega pravartanaihi samyaggatya cha dhadunam akshanam padavena cha anugrannhati avikritaha. Again the word used is avikritaha, not prakritaha. See, there is always some sort of a fear. There is always some sort of a threat existing. That is why we use the word avikritaha. How beautifully it could have been used as prakritaha. So this is the documentation that we find in Ashtanga Hridaya about the normal functional status of Vada dosha, one among the three agencies. If you look into the chapter called Vadakala Kaliyam, the beautiful chapter in Charaka Samhita, we find a very, very interesting, beautiful, awesome explanation about the things which are, or the effects or the results which are executed by Vayu in its Prakritavastha and Vikritavastha. So here we find Avikritaha Chalaha Anugrunnhati. Avikritaha Chalaha Anugrunnhati. There can be many questions here. There can be many questions here. Like, how can this idea be justified? How can this idea be justified? Or who and when identified and named these agencies? Who identified and when identified? Then, who assigned each agency with a specific set of effects? All these are valid questions. All these are valid questions. How this idea is justified is what our prime question or prime area of our inquiry is. The whole idea is to find out how these things can be justified. And that we will find slowly in our sessions. The other two questions about who and when questions. Who named this? When was it questioned? And who assigned these works? That is quite interesting. That is quite interesting. And we have to understand that this was not done by any single person or on a single day. It is an outcome of observations of many acharyas, rishis, over a period of big time, maybe hundreds of years. And by no means it cannot be like just identifying the doshas on a fine day and assigning them with these duties. Okay, you are Vayu and you are supposed to do these works. You are Pitta and you do all these things, works by evening. Isn't it? That is how we assign people. This is your duty, you are X and you do this and finish it by evening. But it is not like this in the case of doshas, but it is by observing the Sharira, understanding the mechanism of action of this Sharira, categorizing the entire observed processes into subsets and sets, and finally reducing the whole spectrum of events into three agencies. Reducing the whole spectrum of events into three agencies, then naming them as per the style of nomenclature followed in that time, the ancient times. Of course, this might have taken hundreds of years or thousands of years. Who knows? With the refinings, redefinings, redactions, which were happening uninterruptedly, all based on observations and practices. All based on observations and practices. So there need not be or may not be a one-point answer to these when and who type of questions. And we understand the doshas are as three agencies having specific effects operating within a common or a single or the same system, the living body, with a mission to make the system intact functionally. That is the core idea behind this. And when we consider the dosha as a thing, because we were explaining an agency as a thing or as an action, when we consider dosha as a thing, it is a dravya straight away. When we take it as an action, then it is a karma. And wherever there is a karma, there should be a karta, the doer of that karma, which is essential. And then that is a dravya. And dravya, in its basic sense, is Panchabhutika in Sharira. Panchabhutatmagam tattukshmam adhisthaya jayate. It's Panchabhutika. So, that way, these three agencies, Vayu, Pittam and Kabham, are conceived as Panchabhutikam also. I am not going to slipping away to Dravyadvijnaniyam at this point, or that complex ideas of Panchabhutikata right away at this moment. We will definitely dwell into those ideas later as and when it is becoming essential. So I think maybe in one or two more sessions, we will be looking into the basic understanding of doshas, because you see, after our first BIMS class or second BIMS class, we might not have even thought about all these things at all. And that is becoming a big obstacle in our understanding of Samprapti, in our understanding of Sharira, in our understanding of the complex procedures of how the Aushadha is going to work, all these things. So, as our time is over today, we will be stopping here. But I repeat, please go through all these basics. You have all these things intact in your brains, in your smriti, dhi and dhriti. So just pick them little bit actively, and we will see some more interesting ideas in our coming sessions, so that we can our movement further to the Samprapti and Rogolpati will be easier and interesting. So here I stop. It is already 2 minutes past 7 o'clock in the now, and we will meet again on Saturday morning. So as of now, I'm winding up. Bhishajam sadhu vruttanam bhadram agamashalinam abhyasta karmanam bhadram bhadram bhadrabhilashinam. I think there are a couple of points in the chat. Let me see, just 1 minute. WhatsApp group link. You were planning to start explain Charakas Vata Prakrita Karma. Yeah, we will come to that. Definitely, we will come to those ideas later. So please try to understand the basic concepts again and again. Revise them. And always, in each and every case you treat, you see in your clinics, the best idea is to make or put an effort to disprove it. An effort to disprove, isn't it? So an effort to disprove the concept will make more and more serious explorations possible. So thank you very much. See you in our next session on Wednesday.